You're listening to the Foxden Sports Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Todd and his three sons, Kellen, Garrett, and Gannon.
Hello to all of our friends, family, and our foes. Welcome back to the Foxden Sports Podcast, along with my three sons, Kellen, Gary, and Gannon. I am Todd Fox, and we want to welcome you, however you may be listening, if it's through our YouTube channel or through Apple Podcast, Spotify. We're on all that stuff, so we want to appreciate everyone for making their way to the Foxden Sports Podcast. All right. It's already been, 12 hours or so. Yeah, probably more than that. But Super Bowl's over. Me and Gannon were right.
The ratio guy trying to tell us how long it's been
since
since Super Bowl.
Yeah. He said it might be even more than 12 hours. It's maybe,
2021-ish.
What are you talking about? It's been since it was played. What are you talking about?
What time is it right now?
It's been like 20 hours.
12. Yeah,
it's
20 hours.
Everyone just relax. Just relax.
Golly. Here's the thing. I can already tell Kellen and Garrett are a little bit, a little off because they were wrong on the Super Bowl. But let's get into it. Let's see what you guys thought.
Here's real quick what we're going to do. We're going to do, each person just kind of says their thoughts because we're all going to have quite a bit of a rebuttal, I think. It's going to get a little hectic. Everyone's going to get a little mad again whenever you don't get to say what you want to say, whenever people are cutting you off. So say what you want to say, and then we'll kind of open the floor for a little rebuttal because I think there's a lot to be said about this game.
All right. So we'll go youngest to oldest. Go for it, Gannon.
I have a lot to say, but I think a lot of what I have to say is in response to
No, it's not. No.
Other people. But off the dome, Patrick Mahomes
hit us, Gannon.
Sports trajectory in sports history, I think, at this rate, and American sports history.
Say what?
He's what?
He has the greatest or career trajectory. Sorry, career trajectory in American sports history. I'm not saying he is the best of all time, but if everybody's careers stopped this fast into their playing, he would be by far the greatest player to ever touch a sport in America. I don't really know. I kind of want to hear what you guys had to say. I came in and I was going to kind of bounce off what you guys are saying. So
you don't have anything to say about the game? Any thoughts? Nothing?
Well, the first three quarters were pretty mid. It started off really slow and I was kind of like, oof. But one of my buddies was like, this fourth quarter could make it. Like, that's all you really need to remember something good about a Super Bowl. It picked up. Both teams were just making bonehead mistakes. It was just like, it was a poor kind of game. Bonehead decisions too. A couple drives got just blown up at the end on both sides. But I told Dad even before we hopped on, but when was the extra point blocked?
Third quarter.
When he missed that extra point, we were all like, oh, man. And I was like, that's going to come back to bite him. It always does. And I was like, I don't know how, but it always does. And sure enough, it totally did. Just that 1 point. But I was also saying, even though the San Francisco had control late in the game, obviously, but I was like, if I was a San Francisco fan, I'm still terrified, though. They still have the best player in any kind of in that situation, they had the best player they could possibly have. Kansas City did, but the GOAT pulled out or pulled through. That's all I really have to say.
Garrett?
Well, number one, Kansas City definitely deserved the game because in my eyes, San Francisco in that game had the refs on their side, or definitely had a lot more favorable calls in their direction. Two, Kansas City, although that is the case, Kansas City is still the luckiest team I've ever seen in big games like this. Pure luck. Three, Mahomes played like trash, got carried by Andy Reid, and got carried by the defense, which is what we saw all during the regular season. He carried them through the playoffs, but they carried him every single game other than the playoffs. And I had one more. Don't really remember, but either way, that guy for sure did not deserve the MVP. It should have been Chris Jones. That guy was, I don't care if he didn't get a sack, but he disrupted some of the biggest plays in NFL history, like just over and over and over and over again, all game. Like they did not have an answer for him on any key third down, fourth down, not necessarily fourth down, but any just key situation. They could not figure out how to stop it. And Travis Kelce is the biggest tool I've ever seen on a football field, and I hope he never takes another snap again, and we never hear from him again. Dude's an absolute clown, an absolute joke to a football league. Professionalism.
Wait, can I ask why? In what way? Or
Did you not see that?
See what?
He almost ran over Andy Reid. Did you not see that clip?
Okay, I did. But once again, I'm going to bring up, if that's like Joe Burrow or Tom Brady.
No,
like,
you can't. You do this. No, you do that every single time. You have nothing to say other than
if it was not.
That's not.
We've never seen
hang on. It's my turn. It's my turn.
Garrett's got the floor.
I got the floor. I got the mic. No, he.
Yeah, bless my eardrums.
It's a real Kelce thing to say.
Well, what?
It's a real Kelce thing to say right there.
Yeah. No, for him to be in the spotlight that he is, with as many young like fans of that really aren't even a fan of the NFL, like to be able to do that to the head coach. If it was even just a bum of a head coach, one it's trying, but to do it to Andy Reid, who's one of the probably a top 5 head coach of all time, and disrespect him and lose your cool in front of your entire team whenever you're supposed to be one of the veterans and you are a veteran in the NFL. And you're acting like a child out there. It's embarrassing.
I don't disagree.
It's embarrassing.
He definitely. That's like one of those things when like you always respect the head coach, like no matter what, obviously. But I'm telling you, you don't think you'd be mad if you had what? It was a one target. I know one reception, but I don't know if he got targeted more than that 1 yard.
You don't see that over there on the other side.
You don't think George Kittle was mad? You don't think Deebo Samuel was mad? You don't think McCaffrey was mad whenever they stopped handing him the ball after he was dominating them?
Situation, but
it's
I just
not.
Don't understand.
It was not at all.
Yeah,
it was the same score almost. Like it's not even close to a different. It's the exact same situation. George Kittle got the ball. I don't even actually know if he got it once. The whole entire game. How was it? Okay. Anyways, we're not getting into that right now. But it's
George
the exact
Kittle
same
disagree
situation.
that it wasn't mature at all. But I just don't think you can like.
And that is going to get swept under the rug.
Because they won.
That is going. Yeah, it shouldn't. It should not get swept under the rug just because they won. Because you know this too, if they would have lost, it would have been blown up by the media hating on him. But now because they lost, It's like, oh, it's just he was just saying how much he loved him. It's like, screw off, man. Like that is not. Just tell the truth. Don't let him. Like Andy Reid needs to do something about it. I don't care if you won. I don't care if you're retiring. Like, sit him down and tell him, like, you know, you need to grow up. You're a 30-year-old man acting like a child.
Kittle had 2 catches, 4 yards.
Through the whole game, not just a half.
No, you're right. 100%. Kellen, what do you got?
Well, I just like to come at this just from a purely, just someone who looks to a Super Bowl to be entertained. Just all around, just awful Super Bowl. Terrible teams, terrible game, terrible commercials, terrible halftime show.
Yeah,
there really wasn't anything that I particularly enjoyed. There was one solid commercial. Michael Cera View. That was a great commercial. Deadpool trailer, teaser trailer got me excited, but I had to go watch the whole trailer online. That was annoying, but still, that was great.
The exact same thing.
But those were like the very, very beginning of the game. After that, just garbage. The Mahomes. This is one of the worst games I've seen Mahomes. He looked scared and flustered and nervous from the second to third quarter. He was making mistakes you don't see him make often. He was trying to take the game into his own hands and overthrowing, missing throws. He doesn't get sacked often. That was I think his first pick in his postseason career. Somebody told me whether or not that's true. I haven't fact checked
Or
that.
this postseason.
Okay, I was gonna say there was no way that was his whole career. But he did not look good at all. But I think this game came down to coaching. I think Andy Reid is a far superior than Shanahan. Everybody praises Shanahan. I think he's not that good. You don't go in with a lead into the second half and throw the ball 6 times straight for 2 3-and-outs, and then finally hand it off to a guy that'd been running all over the first half. Obviously, the Chiefs know you're going to hand it off there. Go ahead and grab yourself another 3-and-out. And then just all of his coaching in general. He tries to get too fancy. Like the Chiefs were the people that needed to make a change coming into the second half. You keep doing what you're doing, maybe minor tweaks and changes as it goes. And then Andy Reid, I don't know. Gannon sends a text saying "GOAT" the second Mahomes hits a wide open guy in the end zone. Let's be honest. That's a play call by Andy Reid. He did it twice in last year's Super Bowl, the exact same play, and that's what beat the Eagles. Was they did it on the left once, did it on the right once. Now this year he does the same thing, exact same play, But it also comes down to coaching in the sense of Kyle Shanahan should have trained his guys to be ready for that play. They claim they didn't know the overtime rules. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. It could have been an excuse, but if they didn't, that comes down to coaching. But also, if they were during overtime, the 49ers are letting the Chiefs get 2 or 3 yards every play. But that's not going to matter when you know it's 4 down territory. They're going to go for it. 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 yards. That's going to cost you. All they need is a field goal to tie it. Didn't matter. I just think it was terrible. Travis Kelce's a clown. Mahomes, yes, he's the best in the league right now, but that wasn't his best game by far. I think the MVP should have been Kadarius Toney for not playing. I think that really saved him right there. But going to, I don't know, are we arguing right now? Like, do I need to go back to some of Gannon's points now, or you want me to save that for after Dad goes?
Save it.
Okay, well,
No,
right?
let me know when you're ready, because I got some nice little arguments to throw at you. But I don't know. Purdy looked pretty good. It's just the second half, I think it was play calls that messed him up. The first half, he looked pretty good. He was making some decent throws, and he was looking like Mahomes on some of those. He'd get out of the pocket and hit a target. He did 2 or 3 times.
But he also first half, but I mean the whole game, he missed probably 6 or 7 throws that were game-changing throws. I mean, and they were wide open too.
I also think
clean pocket. He just missed them.
I also think Debo's trash. I think they need to get rid of him to make room for our money because they're going to have to pay Purdy soon. Debo's terrible. I think Ayuk is just as good, if not better, than Debo.
Better, yeah.
He's a little baby. He's always hurt. And he was, during that first half, the first quarter especially, just making all these little mistakes. Every time they hand it off to Debo, 99.9% of the time doesn't work. Waste of a play. All of a sudden, it's 1st and 10, now it's 2nd and 12. I think Shanahan sometimes he just needs to just stick to what works. Also, give the ball to the best player on your team. The second best player in that game. That's Christian McCaffrey. That's a healthy Christian McCaffrey. He's the best.
I mean, he was arguably the best.
I mean,
he touched it 30 times total.
I mean, yeah, but in that third quarter, he wasn't. And that, worst case, if you get a 3-and-out, you waste some clock with it. But you're getting 3-and-outs by throwing incomplete passes. I know it's early to be wasting clock, but the passes clearly weren't working. I don't know. It was just bonehead play calls in my opinion, but I don't know. I mean, it's he's 0-3 in the Super Bowl. Like at some point, you got to start questioning. Like, hey, he's good, but how many people do we see get the can because they? It's the same story every year.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like from a game standpoint, the first 3 quarters were not good. And the ending, it all developed out to be a very nice, a very good ending, exciting ending. So that was that kind of helped. but it wasn't the greatest game played. I feel as if, like, San Francisco, if you looked at it early on, I mean, they were dominating this thing, but they couldn't score was the problem. They were holding Kansas City in check, and it was fantastic. And it all goes back to mistakes, a lot of different mistakes. The McCaffrey fumble when they were driving, or I think that was the very first possession. The punt, the guy for the punt team, hitting his leg. If he gets out of the way, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And then the missed, it was blocked, but the kick that was blocked completely changed everything in the game, which I know all that kind of stuff happens. But overall, I thought it was a not the greatest game. Hats off to the Chiefs for winning. Was not for them, and it was amazing how much I was rooting for the 49ers because I never root for the 49ers. But I think Kansas City made some good halftime adjustments because I felt like the defense was getting a lot of pressure on Mahomes in the first half. I didn't see a whole lot of that in the second half. In my personal opinion, it's easy to say after the fact. I felt like they should have gone after Mahomes in overtime. I don't think they did. I think he just sat back and picked him apart. And that I felt like that was a big issue. You could see it coming on that fourth down play. Then Mahomes rolls to the right and runs for the first down. I mean, you could see that coming, and that's just it's aggravating from just because I think San Francisco's better than what they were they had in that game. I know the overtime rules like you're talking about. I don't know whether or not the team really knew it, but I can tell you after the game, if you listen to Mahomes and Kansas City, their team kept talking about the overtime rules for the last 2 weeks. He said they honestly got tired of hearing about it, but then they were glad at the end that, obviously it happened. And as for Shanahan and Reed's head and shoulders above Shanahan. It's not even close. Reed's the best coach in the game today. The thing is Shanahan's still a really good coach, and he's just waiting for his Mahomes type player. I mean, until he gets that guy, it's going to be a while because Reed was in the same boat years ago where he was a really good coach, but he never could get into the big game and win the thing. And he got Mahomes, and that's the whole. Both of those guys together are hard to beat. And Shanahan, again, I still think he still got a lot of years left. And here's what bugs me: like I don't even know. I'm assuming when Reed left the Eagles, I'm assuming Jason Garrett was the head coach at Dallas. I would have fired Garrett the minute he was Andy Reid was let go and hired Andy Reid. Best coach in football. By far, it's not even close. And like I said, Shanahan's going to get his, hopefully, at some point. It may not be with San Francisco, but they don't have the quarterback. And again, to Garrett's point a minute ago, Brock Purdy, he shows you why. And I'm not busting his chops. I'm not, because he did really well. But he shows you why he's not one of the top quarterbacks in football. He was missing some of these throws all over the place. And again, I'm not busting on his chops because he had a really good season. But this is the reason why. Mahomes occasionally will miss kind of throws like that. I mean, it reminded me, you remember the first time these guys met when Garoppolo overthrew, but he did it like at least twice in the end zone where the guys were wide open. And basically it all boils down to they couldn't score. They couldn't get 7 points. They had to kick field goals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know they eventually did score, but that's my thoughts on the whole game. And again, hats off to the Chiefs. And Brock Purdy on third downs was 2 of 6 for 29 yards. And you know why? Because Steve Spagnuolo pressured him, and the guy didn't have any time to throw, and he was under pressure on those third downs. So, what else? So let's do some rebuttals then, or whatever you guys want to do. Who you guys were talking about just a second ago? You were saying you were going to go after Gannon about some things he said.
Gannon's saying he's on the trajectory for the greatest career in the history of sports. There's been 3 quarterbacks that have won 3 Super Bowls before the age of 30. Do you know who they are?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was one of them. And then I'm not going to say it wasn't. I don't know.
It's got to be Montana.
Troy Aikman.
Bradshaw, who? Aikman's one
Troy
of them for
Aikman.
sure.
One
So
of
that's
them
just
never
that's the
won
three.
again, and one of them took 10 years to win the next one. So just because he has it, people have been on this trajectory before. We'll see what happens.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying.
Like, if they win next year, then yes. But, like, people have been on the same trajectory and things happen. Aikman, obviously, not even close to the league Brady and Mahomes are in. But he still won 3. But, like...
That whole thing got derailed when Johnson left.
Yeah, I mean, the game was
And
just
that's
completely different. Aikman's...
That's what can happen, though. That's why, like, if Reed were to leave, or once
I mean, he said he's
Kelce
not.
and these guys, I get it.
That's just emotions after the game, though. You have no idea.
Yeah, but my emotions would be like,
I'm
I'm done.
You're talking 4 more rings, which they're not going to win them all in a row. Okay, so I don't see Andy Reid coaching another 6-7 years.
Yeah,
I just don't see
eventually.
it. Right, and that's what I'm saying is that a lot can happen. Free agency, these players leave, retire, whatever, injuries. I wanted to bring this up. If you look at a lot of these quarterbacks, Tom Brady missed an entire year. Peyton Manning missed an entire year. Elway missed time. Joe Montana missed, I think, 2 years. And I know Favre never missed. Troy Aikman was hurt a lot, but he's not in the same classification of those guys. It's coming at some point, unfortunately. And I don't want to say I hope that happens or anything like that, but it's coming, and it happens. And these other guys miss time, and I'm telling you, if he goes down for missing some extended period of time, I mean, they're in trouble, which majority of the NFL teams are.
Actually, depending on who their backup is, I don't think they're in that big of trouble because their division sucks, and Andy Reid's a really good coach.
No,
because don't forget,
still in trouble.
No. Chad Henne's pretty much. I think he's like undefeated whenever he's had to replace Mahomes.
Harbaugh
like 4 or 5. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Chad Henne's nothing special.
No, but Jim Harbaugh's about to. I'm telling you, that
guy's
going to bring physicality. He's going to be all over the Chiefs. I can promise you that.
Harbaugh put the 49ers on the map. When I thought of 49ers, I thought of the team that Joe Montana used to play for, the team that Steve Young used to play for.
Colin Kaepernick was his quarterback. He's got Herbert. Again, I'm not saying he's going to win it all, but he's going to bring a lot of physicality. He's going to get some players in there, and I'm telling you, it may not be this year, but here in the next couple of years, they're going to be between them and the Chiefs, they're going to be running that thing.
But also, going back to Gary's point, you do have to give a lot of credit to the Chiefs defense because that's two games in a row.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dude.
If you told me what the Chiefs offense did, like I would be like, oh, that meant the other team smoked them. Like they held the one of the best offenses in the league, the Ravens, to whatever 10 points or whatever it ended up being. I don't remember what the game ended up being. And then this week, like, just stepped it up, and because everybody keeps talking about those 2 turnovers, but I don't think they matter because the Chiefs had 2 as well. 49ers didn't capitalize on them the same way. The 49ers weren't capitalizing on anything, and then but the defense was holding Mahomes to nothing. Mahomes couldn't do anything in that first half. But when did the Chiefs start rolling? Third quarter. And you know why? Because there was 3 3-and-outs in a row by the San Francisco offense. Their defense was finally getting tired. At least early in the first half, no matter what happened, the 49ers had the ball for a while. They'd go down the field, something would happen, some stall out, but they'd have the ball, the defense would be resting. That just goes back to my earlier point of hand the ball off. But Chiefs defense. But Gary was saying that last night about getting carried. We've seen Brady has had some decent defenses from time to time as well, so I'm not going to use that as an argument. That one?
The first couple of Super Bowls was the defensive driven.
Well, I mean, and he had that one that he won 9-3. That could be off. I know that the Rams
10-3 against the Rams. I think I'm almost positive it was 10-3. I'm not 100%.
But every quarterback has something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to discredit any ring because I mean, you guys also brought up the coach, which is true. He has the best coach in the league, but but Brady had. I mean, you have to have a good coach and a good quarterback as a pair.
100%.
Like
100%.
Like Brady still had a good coach. I'm not going to discredit anything Brady or Belichick did individually just because they had the other.
I will say the most impressive one Brady had was in my opinion, Tampa's, because Bruce Arians, in my opinion, was nothing special.
Oh,
And
Bruce
he also
Arians was
who did-
nothing
and also
special.
who did he beat?
totally.
Bruce Arians is a very good offensive coordinator. A really good offensive
But
coordinator.
it's just comparing him to the rest that he had. It's like, how did he
Comparing
get
him
that
to
much done?
Belichick or Andy Reid.
No, I
for
agree
sure.
100%.
No,
I mean,
that's totally fair.
he helped Ben Roethlisberger and he helped Peyton Manning. So both those guys were really good. But the first couple 2 to 3 Super Bowls that Brady won, it was more of a defensive team. And then that just shows you what Belichick, I mean, of course they were getting 32nd, 31st pick all the time. So, but at the same time, he wasn't the greatest at picking players. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, you guys probably did notice this, I'm assuming, but the terrible clock management on the last play. Like if that play goes wrong, that might have been the game. Did you notice that?
Overtime?
Yeah.
No.
What do you mean?
That's what we thought, but Romo said that it's basically a quarter. It goes
quarter.
into the second quarter of overtime, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Just
Wait,
don't
wait,
even have a clock.
So
Yeah.
So it's as if it goes until the end of that drive, no matter
Then
how
you
long
flip
it
sides,
takes to be.
and yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like
Okay, never mind.
overtime
That was
quarter
like-
two.
I was sitting there like, what are you doing? But
That's
I
the
mean,
difference,
that probably
but-
caught
because
them by
The
surprise.
Kansas
49ers
City knew the
claimed to
rule.
think that they thought it was over. That's why they were set up in like a Hail Mary, like Dad was saying. That they didn't put pressure on Mahomes because it looked like they were just guarding the big play.
They had
saving
so
time.
little time. Okay.
Whether
see, I
or
didn't know
not that
either.
could just be an
That's
excuse they're
insane.
all saying, but I mean, it kind of
I
looked
think
like
it is a little bit, but also I didn't know either. So I think
That's
a
the
little bit of it's
difference.
probably just like, oh, we just didn't know the rules.
But also, it's
But
their,
that's
it's
the difference.
their
Still
job.
fair though.
Right there. That's coaching right
That's
there for you.
That's
They-
true.
they-
Also, it
One
is
team knew it and the other
their
team didn't.
responsibility.
Part of them saying they didn't know the rules is them receiving the ball, which, one, that's been national news for the last 2 years that the playoffs overtime has changed.
Yeah. That,
Two,
they should've
The
kicked that
referee
thing,
is telling you the rules right in front of you, in front of your entire team right before overtime.
Right.
Like,
But also,
Really?
what did it? What that didn't change the game. They received the ball. They kicked a field goal. It wouldn't have mattered whether it was new or old rules.
No, I
kicked a
agree,
field
because
goal.
it
But,
true.
but also,
Urgency,
like,
they had a second.
I don't know. I think they received the ball because they were just got off defense. They didn't want 2 defensive possessions in a row. Because
No, they legitimately thought if they went down and scored, they won.
Nah, I don't think they.
Kyle
thought that.
Juszczyk said it after the game.
Well,
I think they're making
Kyle.
some excuses. But
Yeah, that's got to
I
be
think they're
ridiculous. That's
definitely just-
ridiculous.
if they don't know that, they're actual idiots and their coaches need to be fired.
And
I
again,
think
one
the
of those
reason-
things that I'll say, like Gary said at the very start of his segment, was like at that point, like they had no right to win the game. Honestly,
The Chiefs,
Well,
you
Chiefs
don't
said
know
they
that.
did it before once a week during the playoffs.
Yes.
They went over overtime rules, and then twice before the Super Bowl.
I think they went first because I think it's, in a sense, it's less pressure on Brock Purdy. Personally, I think that's why they probably went first. But in my opinion, what messed them up is, well, first off, remember this though, it was 3 and out, but then they got that
Pass
holding,
interference.
yeah,
penalty,
yeah, it's huge. The holding.
which was kind of questionable, to be honest with you. But the bottom line is it could have been 3 and out because we were like going, oh, that's a game. They go down. I just didn't like the play calling towards the end because at that point, of course, again, like I said, it's so easy to say after the fact. It's going to McCaffrey those first 2 times. I would have done like a Brock Purdy rollout,
Or their
pass run
fullback.
off. I don't know,
But
something different.
Kyle.
you kept saying last night that they know it's coming to McCaffrey. That's what makes McCaffrey the best running back in the league. It doesn't matter. You can know what's going to him, and it does not matter. There's a
It
reason.
mattered last night.
No, it didn't. It
What do
did
you
not
mean? Yeah,
matter.
it did.
He averaged like 4 yards a carry.
But right there at the end, they forced him to kick a field goal. Is my point. You got to get 7 at
Because
that
they
point.
didn't run it down the middle. They kept trying to go outside. That outside run
Yeah,
had
that
not
was,
worked all night except for
yeah.
the pitches. But even
Yeah.
some of those were 50-50.
Personally, I would have gone for it on 4th down. I texted my friend saying, "Go for it." No, think about it.
I don't
Worst
know.
case, you got Kansas City pinned at the 6. I'm not saying. I mean, Mahomes can do a 94-yard drive, but
Of course.
worst case, your defense
had to do
has
is
been
kick a field
stopping
goal.
him, but also clearly they didn't know what they were doing on defense that drive. But like, I
Well-
would have gone for it because I just would not trust kicking a field goal, I would not trust Mahomes not to go down and score a touchdown. I would.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that they would have
All
only
they would've
needed a
had to do
field
was
goal.
a field goal.
Yeah, but if
that's why I wouldn't have
you
done
know
it.
how many 3-and-outs you held that offense to, so just do it again. Figure out how to do it again.
I agree but like I was like, this is why Mahomes gets all these game-winning drives, is because everyone thinks prevent defense is going to stop him. And
You
I think
can't
it
do
was Clay was like, well, you don't want a big shot. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You've held this
Doesn't
team to 19 points through the entire game.
100%.
and when it's a
And
four down
now all of a
territory,
sudden you're just letting them do 10, 12 yards every single play. Like,
Go
give me a
after it.
break. Buffalo's done that like 2 years in a row. Like,
You can't
come
let
on.
him pick you apart. You cannot let him pick you apart. He'll pick you apart.
and even then, 4-down territory, 2 or 3 yards, it doesn't matter. That's just it's 4-down territory. Yards is yards at that point.
if you look at the games that Mahomes has lost, it's because he gets pressured. He gets beat. He gets hit. He may not get sacked a lot, but he's getting hit a lot, and he's having to rush throws. That interception he threw, he was in a little
horrible.
bit of a right. It was a bad throw, but he was like trying to get away from pressure. And that's what I'm saying. I agree with Garrett 100% that you've got to pressure him. And of course, he hits a bomb, and everybody's going, "Oh my goodness, they can't." Whatever. I get it. It's easier to say after the fact, but you got to put pressure on a guy like that because he'll pick you apart. He's too good. Too good.
Would
And
you
Andy
rather?
Reid's just too
You
creative.
said,
No, I
you said
agree.
maybe
100%.
they receive to not put pressure on Purdy.
Yeah.
Or would you rather hide from the pressure on Purdy or just give Mahomes like a game-winning drive situation? Because that's like a lose-lose. That's like picking.
Yeah, but in your mind, you're
Pick your
hoping
poison.
you think you have a better chance of scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, but
And if you have a touchdown,
still-
Mahomes has to score a touchdown. Worst case, another round of overtime.
Still, though,
The only
it's
thing
like,
I like,
oh,
one of the
man.
things I do like about getting the ball the second, like Garrett was talking about last night, hypothetically, let's say that Mahomes and Chiefs go down and kick a field goal or touchdown, either one. Then San Francisco's in 4 downs.
Yeah, 4
The whole-
downs.
Oh, wait, you got
Exactly.
4 downs guaranteed you have to make. So it is a little bit different. You've got 4 downs to get 10 yards. You know what I mean? So
At that point,
that's the one.
I was scared. I was like, we're either going to a second overtime or Kansas City's winning because with this 4-down territory, there's no way they don't do something here.
That's-
Worst
yeah.
case, freaking Butker hits a 60-yard field goal.
yeah.
That
And
was crazy that they had the 2 longest field goals. Like they
Yeah.
had this one, and then he topped it. That was like that's pretty crazy that happened in one game.
The stat was there's been 7 50-plus yarders in all other 57 Super Bowls combined. And last night there was 3.
amazing.
That's insane.
These kickers nowadays are incredible.
I would
But
say,
the
which
thing
does
is-
make sense though, because I mean, it's not till the past 7 years that it's really been more common to hit 50-yarders.
yes,
Like
right.
you kind of
'Cause
expect your guy to hit 50 to 55 at this point.
Yeah, but like
We were
10
talking
years
about
ago,
last
it'd be
night.
like, what?
we were talking about
Yeah.
last night.
It's just a little different when you
Yeah.
got a rookie.
Yeah, well, 10 years ago, 52, 51, 52 is one thing. 57, no shot. I mean,
my
you wouldn't even, a lot of these guys wouldn't even attempted it back then.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
it's all the
Yeah.
roids.
But the kicker cannot miss the extra point. And I know it was blocked, but he did kick it low, but you can't, like, what did I say right before the kick? I said he's got to make this kick, Garrett.
Yeah, I've never heard you say that before a PAT, and then the one time you do, it gets blocked. I'm like, come on, dude.
Oh, it's my fault?
Yes.
You probably were looking at your phone. You probably had it
No,
slightly behind.
I was not.
But also, I think if he made that, the game just doesn't go into overtime and Kansas City
Fair-
wins the game.
Your point, yeah.
I
you're
think
right.
they score in the last drive anyway.
That's a
So,
fair
like,
point.
And
I
That's a
just
fair
don't-
point.
everybody says it cost them. I don't think it cost them the game personally. I think Kansas City still would have
Well,
won. Who knows?
and
You
But-
never know, though.
they don't block that. That's still missing because he shanked the crap out of that kick.
You think so?
really?
That was going wide left by a mile.
Well,
It hit
all
off
I
his
know is-
ankle.
Also, we're talking a lot of hypotheticals, which of course you do, but in reality, man, Chiefs won. I
And this
love
is
it.
the last time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay,
is,
wait.
I know.
Can I ask what the
Okay.
excuses though? Because every time it's like, oh, he got this
Joe
first
Burr.
one, but
I
Oh,
really
we got the
think
second
it's
one.
just coaching.
What about now? It's 3. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I
I'm not saying
respect
Patrick
that.
Mahomes
I
is
respect
the
that.
best quarterback in the league right now. But I think
Okay,
I think 49ers are
totally
the
respect
best
this.
team outside of Mahomes. But I think the tiebreaker is coach. Personally.
That's totally fair. That's been the most fair, I think, response.
But to have a dynasty, you
either
have to have a
side has
coach
given
and a
us.
quarterback to
Oh,
have
yeah,
a dynasty.
Yeah.
And that's Reed
Yeah.
and Mahomes, Belichick and Brady,
NBA, no matter the
Steve
sport,
Kerr and
doesn't
Curry.
matter the sport.
Yeah, you
Montana
have to have,
Walsh,
like the main guy.
Aikman,
and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
What's his name in Jordan?
Bradshaw, and Chuck Noll,
What's that
Phil
guy's name?
Jackson.
Phil
Phil
Jackson.
Jackson and Jordan, Phil Jackson and Kobe, and Shaq.
No, I agree 100%. No, you're right, 100%.
Because like great quarterbacks can win a Super Bowl. Like you look at Peyton Manning went out there with Tony Dungy. But to have a dynasty, I think it comes down to coaching.
Tony Dungy's a good coach, but he's not in the same stratosphere as those other guys, though. No.
But I think, imagine if Peyton Manning had a Andy Reid or Belichick or something.
No, the better one would be the Fox guy at Denver. Who the heck was that?
I couldn't remember his name. That's why I didn't say it, because he's
You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
the Denver head coach, something Fox.
No, you're talking about Kubiak?
No,
Denver coach.
when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl.
John
With
Fox won the head coach. It was Kubiak. John Fox got fired. Kubiak won the Super Bowl.
Either way, neither of them are good. John Fox.
No,
Was,
I don't disagree with you at all. I agree with that, though.
I mean, I do remember, though, way back in the day during the Colts Super Bowl, Dad's like, Tony Dungy doesn't know what he's doing out there. This is all Peyton Manning.
It is, though, a lot of it Peyton Manning, though. You're right. I mean, 100%. Because,
he's
I could go.
That dude,
Manning
if
was
he ever
good.
got bored and wanted to come be an offensive coordinator, I think he'd be one of the best in the history.
Yes. I
The
just don't know
problem
if
is he would need a quarterback on his level of
You gotta have a
IQ.
quarterback.
That's the problem. That's
Yeah,
the
but
only
I don't.
problem.
He
would
just
need
needs a guy that can throw.
stellar quarterback.
I don't think he
And
doesn't need a
with
guy.
head.
He wouldn't even need a mobile guy. His game's
Yeah.
just different.
I don't know who's going to win. I mean, because I don't think they'll be 3 in a row. I say that easily now on whatever February. Whatever
Well,
today is.
surely
Well,
not. Yeah, there's no
I
way.
I think it's going to be difficult to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, but realistically, at this moment, who do you think? Every team that's good fumbles the bag every year. The 49ers every year
Houston,
fumble it
dude.
some way. I think the Eagles are going to start going downhill. Sadly, I don't
Yeah, they
want them to, but I think it's. And then Cowboys fumble every year in the playoffs.
Yep.
I don't think the Lions are strong enough.
Jared
As good
Goff,
as they
man.
are, I don't think they're strong enough to beat the Chiefs. And then on the other side, Lamar
Joe
that team
Burrow.
falls apart.
That's all it is.
But then, and
Um,
I think I love Joe Burrow, but does he have the team around him that can do it? Does he have the coach?
He's got a better team now than he did
doesn't-
when he went to the Super Bowl. That's for
Hopefully.
sure. No, he definitely does.
Because I don't think Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are going to get it done.
And that's
I
like
don't think
Gannon
they've-
said. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's different, man.
And
Like,
I agree, but
and
I
they
think
have
we
so
got a
much
few
money.
years.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
They have so much money to surround him and to bolster up that defense. It could be scary.
I
this year.
hope.
And
I hope
D'Amico is
so.
a coach that we see, like an Andy Reid, making an offense that has not a lot of talent kind of thrive, and he did that this year already. But you give him some better athletes and better players, that's going to be a scary defense. And you have C.J. Stroud, who's one of the most talented quarterbacks, and just, I mean, he's probably, in my opinion, one of the more similar quarterbacks to Mahomes, where he's just out there playing football. You know what I mean? Like he's not sitting there like a Tom Brady or whatever Peyton Manning, where they're just
Joe Burrow.
the preparation. Yeah, and Joe. Like the preparation is what makes them good. Not to say
Joe's
that
got to stay healthy.
not to say that those guys don't prepare, but I think they just play football, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying
Or
today at work that
part
I
of
think C.J. Stroud's one of the only ones and that realistically looks like he could, but I just don't know how soon. Or Harbaugh
be-
and
It'll be Brown around
And
the
Herbert.
his 5th year, according
Huh?
to my analytics. Herbert? No, yeah. I mean, it was
No.
Harbaugh, but I think I don't think it's this year, but I think
No.
eventually. Because I don't think Eckler will be back. They're
Eckler's
going to have to do something there.
a bum.
I think they
running
need to
backs
redo
don't
the
matter.
whole offense outside.
No,
of
you're
Herbert.
right. I agree. You're right. I agree. But they need to get him a different receiver, obviously, and then they need to shore up that defense. But Herbert, as long as he stays healthy, Burrow's got to stay healthy to be able to put pressure on on Mahomes.
And he can. I think it was the Bengals' fault that he got hurt. He shouldn't have started those first 3 games, but then also the season-ending injury, he was already a little hurt. He shouldn't have been in that game. That was the
No,
Bengals' fault for that.
It's frustrating. I don't see Miami at all.
No.
As long
No
as Tua's the
chance.
quarterback. With Tua as the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Unfortunately, might have to come down to Caleb Williams or Drake May.
If Pittsburgh could get a quarterback, but it's still
That
another year or
defense is
two
too
away.
old.
Yeah, that's got to decline at some point.
And then it depends on where Caleb's going to go.
It's never going to be the Jaguars.
Probably not.
Honestly, man, that's a crazy downfall.
Probably not. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because I can't wait for the season. As far as Travis Kelce goes, me personally, I think that was ridiculous, him bumping into his coach. I called the sports animal today and had a conversation with Kel Gundy and Mark Rogers and talked to them about it, and obviously they agreed with me on that. Can you imagine somebody trying to do that to Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, or like a Vince Lombardi? They would have been in big-time trouble.
Or even now, a Bill Belichick, a Mike Vrabel,
Vrabel will probably beat him up.
You know what I mean?
He's tougher than any of them.
And then that's the thing is you do that on any single level other than in a National Football League where you're a superstar, you're not playing the rest of the game. You're not. Yeah. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you play. I don't care what game it is. The odds of you getting back in that game are slim to none. And
let me say,
it's a bad example for any single person who watched that game. That
he's the Draymond to Mahomes Curry.
What would happen if Stephon Diggs did that to Sean McDermott?
I don't know, because Sean McDermott seems kind of soft, but
no, but what would happen?
They would have blasted him. Yeah, they would have blasted him.
Bill's Mafia would have made sure he was out of there.
Well, right, but the media would have blasted. I don't see any media blasting Kelce.
No, like I said,
because they won.
All the passion.
I saw the Swifties hopping on Twitter and saying if he's going to do that to the coach, he's going to do that to her too.
You seriously saw
Dad
that?
said this almost the same thing last night.
No, but I saw that. I'm not saying it. I just saw it on Twitter.
Rumor has it that Reed told him. I don't think that Taylor Swift's that good of a singer, and he got upset. That's why he did that. That's a rumor.
They what?
I'll personally debunk that rumor.
Oh, I was like, what?
Gannon was about to just get triggered.
Yeah.
No, I was just like, that makes no sense.
All I know is you can't do that regardless. You can't do that to your head coach. And Andy Reid's had hip surgery, all this kind of stuff. I understand you're passionate. I'm a passionate guy. You think I'm going to do that at my workplace? Sit there and bump somebody? you can't do that regardless. And
that's been their story all year.
I know. That guy's a
nutcase.
He's a problem, I think, and he's
got some issues.
He's got some mental issues, but he'll apologize on his podcast that he has. I don't, whatever. That guy's
I don't think he will. I think they're just going to say the same thing, just that it was a private conversation.
Well, I will tell you, he did apologize to him right after that, but obviously that part wasn't shown. But still, it doesn't matter. People are on social media ripping people for, for 3 seconds of this. I get it, but you can't do that. That's all it takes is 3 seconds. You can't, when you're a high paid athlete like that, you can't do something like that, especially to your head coach. I've seen assistant coaches, I've seen players get into it, but you can't do that to the head guy, especially somebody with all that kind of respect as Andy Reid deserves. That's just my opinion. It's ridiculous. If you have to pick a team on February 12th to win the Super Bowl next year, who would you pick? Because it's hard, isn't it? It's obviously we don't know the draft. We don't know any free agent signings. Oh, I'm happy you come back and visit.
Decided to join us, Cam. I think it's a pretty quick decision. It's going to be
Who will win the Super Bowl, Gannon, next year? If you're guessing right now. Yeah.
It's got to be the Chiefs.
Bengals.
I'm going to keep going.
It's going to be the Bengals.
Until they prove me wrong.
Kellen? Who do you got?
I'm trying to think.
The Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, I want to say the Cowboys just because of the little Peyton Manning comparisons, but I also don't want to be that guy.
I am going to be that guy. I'm throwing it out on a limb. The Cowboys.
Because here's the problem. It can't be a guy that lost the Super Bowl already, his first Super Bowl. They never make it back. So that knocks out half the good quarterbacks.
Oh, you're right. Herbert's not there yet.
So then it's Herbert, Lamar, Tua, or C.J. Stroud. Those are or Josh Allen. But I don't have faith in Allen in the playoffs. I want to say Ravens, but I picked them this year and nearly got it. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl this year.
I would love to say Dallas. I don't think it'll happen, but I'd love to say Dallas. And the thing is, as being a Dallas Cowboy fan since 1977, I'm talking to Garrett about it last night.
I'm going to do something crazy.
I'm tired of being a Cowboys fan, so I've got to figure it out who I'm going to be.
Green Bay Packers.
It could.
Ooh.
I just think he's a couple years. I think he's another year away at least.
I would too, but he made it a lot further than we expected this year.
I agree. I just want to see, can that happen again next year? I think
I'm picking that because I will not ever pick the Chiefs ever, no matter who. It could be the Chiefs versus the Cardinals in the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. It could be this year's Cardinals with Dobbs. I will not pick the Chiefs, so I'm gonna go Packers.
It could be.
They're young and they're good. They're kind of the same as since Houston, but a little bit more experienced of a quarterback, honestly.
I think they'll be favored to win that division, to be honest with you. I mean, next year we'll see how everything goes throughout the offseason. But I mean, this is like the worst part of the year for me. It's like whatever, 5-6 months or whatever it is with no football. I mean, I know we'll have some training camps coming up, and the draft will be here in about 2 months. That'll be fun. I can't wait for that. But other than that, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to bring up some Thunder stuff, but All-Star break's getting ready to happen. But the Thunder, one thing real quick, what are your all's thoughts on the trade for Hayward?
I'm not a fan of it, but Presti's never steered me wrong before, so I'm just going to kind of see how it goes.
It was a great trade. It just means nothing since we didn't get his center.
Yeah, it doesn't add a single win to this year.
Right.
Playoffs or regular season.
If we got it. All it relies on is the center. And the fact that we have Giddey, so we're first round exits. But
no, I agree.
The fact that everyone still hates on Giddey and when Shea's not playing great, it's usually Giddey that's picking up his slack, honestly.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Listen, let's have a separate podcast sometime because Giddey is infinitely worse than any player I've ever seen with that big of a role. He is
that's garbage.
I've been saying since I was down there for what Thanksgiving was it?
It wouldn't work with both of them. Is that what you were saying?
What?
Yeah, I've been saying. I thought you were going to say what I've been saying for since his rookie years that it wouldn't work with both of the guys. And
what were you going to say, Kellen?
I mean, I just Thanksgiving, the day before all the rumors came out, I said we got to get rid of this guy. But
it was going to be very difficult to get rid of him while all that was going on.
Well, yeah, but I said it the night before, and then I was convinced that a Thunder fan leaked all of it because they were mad at how he was playing. That they just wanted him off the team, however it had happened.
Yeah, he sucks.
He was plus 29 yesterday.
I could be plus 29 if I'm on the court with Shea.
Yeah, when Shea has an incredible
Here's the
game.
thing. How do you make a difference whenever you're probably the fifth option on offense and the fourth to fifth option on defense? You're
when
not going
to make a difference. Trying to make a difference and messing it up. Just know your role, pass the ball.
You learn how to play off the ball because even Shea said one interview one time he was like, even Michael Jordan played off ball, so I can learn how to play off ball, and he has this year.
But even if he were, again, it's not going to make him go above Chet. It's not going to make him go above J-Dub. It's not going to make him go above Shea or Dort.
He could be a great role player if he knew how to play a game of basketball. His IQ is below the floor.
He's also 17.
Right. Sure.
He's also an idiot.
Well, I know they freed up some money, $18 million, I think, for next year for sure. So, rumor, I mean, who knows? They don't ever tell you what they're going to do, but some of the rumors going around here is that in town is on the radio and TV is them going after somebody big. Who that is, I don't know. for a couple years, because they're not going to be like they're going to sign somebody for a long contract, because they got to pay at some point. They got to pay, what's his name? Holmgren. They got to pay J-Dub. Yeah, they're going to have to pay those guys for sure. And it would probably be, in my opinion, who knows? It'd be a pack. I don't think Giddey. I think Giddey would be part of that deal if they're going to try to acquire somebody next season. Who? I don't know. More will come. That's all I know. And they're a good young team. They're fun to watch, and I look forward to a very bright future with those guys for sure. Well, the Foxden would like to appreciate everybody for taking their time and listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. Send us some comments. Watch us on YouTube. Comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like it, all the good stuff. Send us all kinds of questions you might have. I know with some upcoming things we want to talk about in the next podcast, maybe next week or the week after, some rule changes we'd like to see in the NFL personally, or possibly like if we had a magic wand and we could change one thing, what would it be? Type of situation. So send us your thoughts. Do it on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to do it. But I want to remind everyone that iron sharpens iron.
Please stay safe.
Be savage and not average.
And remember to join the Skulk.
And until next time,
Good. Bye, everybody.
Boomer.
You've been listening to the Foxden Sports Podcast with Todd, Kellen, Garrett, and Gannon. Find us on Facebook at Foxden Sports. That's Fox with 2 X's. Drop us an email at foxdensports@yahoo.com. And be sure to share this podcast with other sports fans in your life. This has been Foxden Sports.